Now, uterine cancer is the most common cancer of the female reproductive system, with more than 95% of such cancers beginning in the lining of the uterus called the endometrium. Now, uterine cancer is the sixth most common cause of cancer death among women in the United States. Now, after being diagnosed in March of this year with uterine cancer, our guest today began taking cannabis oil, and she recently got word that she is now cancer-free. But because she lives in an illegal state, she does not want us to use her real name and wants us to call her Honey. And Honey, you're the first woman I've ever called Honey outside of my wife. Thank you.
Well, hi, nice to be here. It is kind of fun, Honey. You know, you'll call the store and they'll say, well, who should I call back? And you say Honey, and they start to giggle. So, Honey.
Honey, what was it like for you when you got the news that you were cancer-free?
Well, when I got that news, I'm sitting right there in front of the naturopath, and it occurred to me that through my whole journey, I hadn't envisioned hearing what I wanted to hear. So I wouldn't have put that in there had I thought of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was extremely exciting. My husband was with me, and we felt the presence of, I'm going to say source, God, universe, whatever you call your higher power. Mm-hmm. I'm good with that. You're going to hear me call that entity all kinds of things that are beautiful. And that presence was with us as well. And it's the joy in my heart is so full. Like I'll just be walking around and it just spills out. So I just start to cry, and it goes like it's so exciting.
That's going to be hard for some people to relate to.
Yeah, well, I've worked really hard to raise my vibration to be there. I like it better there. So for those who are listening, laughter raises your frequency. So I do a lot of laughing.
Okay, that's good. So you get this diagnosis that you have cancer. What happens next?
Well, my husband and I were grocery shopping when I got the call. And as soon as we got out of the store, we got in the car and we held hands. And we immediately went to Source. And we said, we cancel all fear around this diagnosis. And we ask that you guide us, show us the way. And, then there were no more words exchanged on our drive home because you got to take it in. Mm-hmm. And when I got home, we put away groceries and I went out to the fire pit and burned some boxes. And I was standing there and I was talking to the universe and I'm like, I'm not ready to go. And I heard, we know. And I think that's kind of cool too, that I come to learn through my journey that we have multiple opportunities in which to leave the planet or stay. And so I felt that my choice to stay was going to be honored, but I had to do the work and walk it out. So when I called Corey, right after I burned the garbage, I told her, I just see me walking through this. And that's exactly what I did.
Do you remember that, Corey?
I do. I do remember that because she was so positive.
Yeah, it's, I guess it's a contradiction to all the other people who experience fear, which is totally understandable when you get a diagnosis from the medical profession that you've only got months to live or you've got cancer and here are the treatment options we have. And I think, Honey, what you knew intuitively was that there was another way, correct?
Absolutely.
And that fear would immobilize you.
Correct. And
because fear does that. I mean, it absolutely does. And, when people come to me, often they're like, oh my gosh, I sure hope this works. And with you, it was like, I don't remember your exact words, but it was like you just knew you were going to do this.
Well, I had listened to all the stories, the people who went before me. Their stories impacted my life. And I hope that my story impacts someone else's.
Oh, I think it will. I think definitely. I
Well,
mean, every person that we interview has a story that may impact someone else around the world, and that's the purpose of what we do here. That's why Corey and I got together and established Cannabis Health Radio 5 years ago. And I mean, Corey has been doing helping people for, I guess, a decade now. Corey.
yes. Yeah.
And she saved hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lives. And I think your story is really exceptional because you didn't let fear drive what you did. You intuitively raised your vibration through laughter, and you just knew somehow that you were going to defeat this, beat it, or whatever term you want to use. Does that sound right to you, honey?
Yeah, I was determined to hang on to that thread of life. And I was sick because I felt my life force waning. I don't care to feel that ever again.
What were some of the symptoms?
We got you,
Go ahead.
We got you started on oil, and it was a multi-strain oil that you were taking. I think 4-to-1 ratio, high THC. Did you started doing it? Did you do it all orally, or did you do suppositories? Share a little bit of that time of what you were doing with the oil, please.